the girls and I from St. Andrews stayed in a cabin with other girls and leaders from across the state of Nebraska. Now, Ben and I were part of this planning committee for the retreat, and our hopes for the retreat were that the youth would come away feeling lifted up and inspired and closer to God and have better friendships with those that they came with. And, by the ride home, I think the youth, I think the youth felt those things. I think the youth got those things from the retreat. But what I was most surprised by was the difference that one of the youth made in my life during the retreat. This youth, who was part of the St. Andrews crew, and you'll be hearing from her later, inspired me and has led me to this day, Ash Wednesday. It's fascinating how God speaks to you in ways that you don't expect. We all know how much technology is integrated into our lives, and especially the lives of our children and our youth, right? We know this. And so you can imagine that in our cabin, there were iPhones, there were iPods, there were cell phones, and other electronics. And Taylor, the girl I mentioned before, was saying how hard it was for her to not be checking her Facebook. And so, curious, I said, well, what do you mean by that? Thinking she probably didn't have cell service way out in Cozad, Nebraska. But that was not the response that I got from her. The response that she answered was, I gave up Facebook for Lent. Now, I'm not sure if I responded to her out loud or not, but I know immediately I was questioning myself. Have I ever given up anything for Lent? Could I ever give up something that means as much to, Taylor as Facebook does? Could I do that? And, what's next? What's next? And does she know how much she's inspiring me? So, for the last year, I've been thinking about Lent, what it means, what its purpose is, and should I give up something? And if so, should I challenge others to do the same thing? So I decided our middle school Wednesday night Bible study at the first of the year would focus on preparing for Lent. And of course, I had to explain to them that Lent was a time to prepare ourselves for Easter, and since we were talking about Lent before Easter, we were preparing ourselves to be prepared for Easter. And this is how I did it. So, again, I can't get the technology away from the middle school youth. There's probably someone over there on their phone right now as I speak. Hey, hands up. So I figured I'd better speak their language if I'm going to get through to them. So I came up with delete and download, what's up with Lent? So I made my little iGod instead of the iPod, and I used analogies of deleting and downloading apps, to apply to their lives. In case you don't know what an app is, it's an application or a program that you can download onto your electronic device. And there are many apps out there. You've probably heard the expression, there's an app for that. And there probably is. There are apps to help you lose weight. There are game apps, there are shopping apps, there are sports apps, there are book apps, and I could go on and on. There are helpful and useful apps out there. There's a Bible app where, you can have the Bible right on your phone, and a navigation app that helps you, to find where you're going. There's some strange apps. This app here, let's see this slide here. Okay, so this app is a game app called Hold On. The object of this app is to put your finger on the screen where it says Hold On, and it will time you to see how long you can hold on. That's it. That's the app. Okay, so this next app is called Email and Walk. Okay, it uses your camera on your phone, so your phone becomes almost transparent-like, so you can, walk your dog and email someone. Useful. Okay, this next app might help Pastor Bruce to understand his cell phone a little better. So we might think about getting this app for Pastor Bruce because it's a rotary dial. So wish you could actually do the little rotary style. So oftentimes apps get in the way. They take up our time, and they get in the way of what we should be doing with our time. And sometimes our phones are just so full that we have to delete some of these apps so we can actually use our phones. Now, the purpose of delete and download was to teach the youth about Lent and to challenge them to delete something from their lives that was negative or took up too much time, and to download or to add something to their lives that was positive, all in the purpose of getting closer to God and preparing ourselves for this great story of Easter. So I came back to the question, Mandy, what are you going to give up for Lent? So, I made a list. And this is some of what went through my head as I was making my list. Okay, let's see. I could delete TV. Yeah, I could delete TV. I don't watch a whole lot of TV, so I could probably do that. Let's see, what about caffeine? That would be a challenge. I think I could do it. Let's see here, chocolate. Now, I do love chocolate, but, I don't eat it every day, so I could maybe just give that up. Let's see, makeup. Okay, let's move on from that. Kids, okay, little aside. One of the middle school youth suggested that I give up my kids for Lent. So I thought, could I give up my kids for Lent? And I thought, man, that would be kind of hard. But then again, being away from my 8 and 12-year-old sons for 40 days might be a nice break. So I looked at my list again and I thought, if I am really going to challenge others, I have to challenge myself. And as I looked at my list, I knew that the one thing that would be the most challenging for me would be to give up makeup. Now, I've been doing makeup since I was about 15 years old every day. Giving up makeup? I really do this. Of course, I started immediately making excuses why this was not a good idea. Now, I've been doing makeup for over 15 years daily. That comes to about 6,000 days. Now, in 6,000 times of applying my makeup, I'm pretty fast at it. I've learned how to apply this makeup pretty fast. And so I thought, 3 to 5 minutes of my day, is that really a sacrifice that's worth it? I mean, God is good. Isn't he worth more than 3 to 5 minutes extra of my time a day? But of course, I realized that it's more than just the time. I realized that I'd like to tell myself that I'm confident in the way I look and who I am inside, but am I really? Am I vain? Do I care too much about myself to worry about what really matters? Do I miss people beside me who are hurting or who are in pain because I'm worried about what I look like? I guess I'll find out, because for the next 40 plus days between now, Ash Wednesday, and Easter, I will have no makeup on. So we'll see how it goes. There's a scripture, 1 Peter 3, verse 3 and 4. It says, your beauty should not come from outward adornment, such as elaborate hairstyles and the wearing of gold jewelry or fine clothes. Rather, it should be that of your inner self, the unfading beauty of a gentle and quiet spirit, which is of great worth in God's sight. I call this the custard pie theory, and here's why. When I was 18 or 19, Tom, my husband, and I were invited to Tom's co-worker's house. They were an older couple who invited us for a meal, and it was a wonderful meal. I can't remember what we ate, but I remember that it was good. And as we were finishing up, Sharon, the wife, told us about this delicious custard pie that she had just made for dessert. Now, I'm a big dessert fan. Tom is an even bigger dessert fan, so this sounded like a good idea. This was going to be my and Tom's first experience with custard pie, but it's all good. So Tom and I both thanked her and took a bite of the pie. The custard pie was warm, and it was not sweet, and it was nothing like I thought it was going to be. It didn't look like it would taste like this. Now, on the outside, it looked good, though. It was called pie, and it looked like pie. How could this be wrong? Tom and I glanced at each other, and we knew immediately that we were both not fans of custard pie that day, or probably for the rest of our lives. But we did have a few laughs about it when we got to the car. But it reinforced to me that things are not always as they appear. You can't judge a book by its cover, my parents would tell me. And the custard pie theory holds true even for humans. Your inner self, your beautiful spirit, it's a great work in God's sight. I better make sure that I'm good on the outside, on the inside, before I take up too much time worrying about what I look like on the outside. Now, for some of you, I know you are saying, giving up makeup, that's not a big deal. But for me, it is. This is a challenge that I'm setting before myself to allow God to work in my life as we move into the Easter season. Jesus died on the cross. He gave his life for you and me. We better prepare ourselves for that. Now, I can't tell you how this Lenten season will end. I can't tell you that if I will be closer to God at the end of it or not. I can't tell you that I will focus my life on what matters any more before than I will after. I can't tell you that. But I can tell you that it's worth a shot. So what is your app that gets in the way? What is the thing that will challenge you? Will you delete something this Lent? Now we're going to hear from a few youth, so I'll have you guys come up here. And they have a few thoughts of their own about Lent and deleting and downloading. So we're going to have Eric start. If you guys want to say your name before you start, let me know.
Hello, I'm Eric Parsons, an 8th grader, and I'm part of the youth leadership team here at St. Andrews, and I'm here to talk about what Lent is. So what is Lent? Dictionary.com says that Lent is, in the Christian religion, an annual season of fasting and penance in preparation for Easter, beginning on Ash Wednesday and lasting 40 days, excluding Sundays, until Easter. For Lent, you're supposed to sacrifice something very dear to you that will make your relationship with God closer. The 40 days does have a spiritual meaning. Here are a few examples. The Bible says that Jesus fasted and prayed for 40 days and 40 nights in the desert before he began his public ministries. Matthew chapter 4, verse 2. It rained for 40 days while Noah was on the ark.